The 2025 Chicago Bears are going to be one of the best mid teams in all of football this year. Welcome back to another preview. This time I'll be talking about the Chicago Bears. And there's a ton of pressure on Caleb Williams. Can Caleb Williams do enough to not necessarily get the Chicago Bears into the playoffs, but to sow signs of being the franchise quarterback in Chicago? The Bears had a fantastic free agency. They went out, got their head coach in Ben Johnson. They went out, improved the offensive line, and they had a good draft. They added some more talent for Caleb Williams, and they solidified their defense even more. And the former Ben Johnson, the former offensive coordinator for the Detroit Lions, he is coming to essentially be the quarterback whisperer for Caleb Williams. And we'll see how it goes. I think Ben Johnson is a brilliant offensive mind. In his 3 seasons as a coordinator, he maintained a top 5 offense alongside building out a philosophy and scheme to where he took some pressure off his quarterback. I do have some trepidation about this move, and it's only a little bit because I think Ben Johnson can succeed unless that Chicago Bears curse is really strong and alive. We'll see how that goes. But he is a first-time head coach. That is a bit of a concern. That's why I don't have the Bears necessarily reaching the postseason. I think they'll come close. I think they'll be one of those teams that compete every week, and they have a good chance of upsetting a lot of the teams that we expect to be elite out in the NFC. But the main importance of his first season as a head coach is just making sure that Caleb is on track. And it sounds like Caleb just had this awful rookie season. By no means was his rookie season awful. When you're the first pick, there's just a lot of expectations on you to be that guy from day one, especially when you get the starting job from week 1 onwards. Caleb had his faults. We saw that in his tape while he was at USC in Oklahoma, and it reared its ugly head again. That being his inability to be on time, to get the ball out instead of taking unnecessary hits. I believe with Ben Johnson and the way he runs his offense, that will help Caleb Williams get on track, take less hits, and also just get the most production out of him. And that's all you want to see if you're in the Bears front office, if you're a fan. You just want to see Caleb just show his potential this season. If the Bears go 7-10, I would consider that a successful season. It depends on how they lost those 10 games, though. And as I mentioned at the start of the video, the Bears had a great offseason. They did a lot in terms of making sure Caleb has what he needs to be successful. And that includes that offensive line, which led to him being sacked the most amount of times last year, 68 to be exact. And they got some great pieces for that offensive line. They added Joe Thuney in a trade with KC. They went out and traded for Jonah Jackson, along with giving him an extension. And then in the free agency market, they went out and signed a Drew Dowman. Out of those 3 guys, I believe fits well with the scheme in which Ben Johnson wants to run. I think we'll see a resurgence in that running game. And then with the passing game, you have all the talented playmakers around Caleb Williams. You got DJ Moore. You got Roma Dunze, who was your 9th pick in the draft last year. You drafted another big-time tight end in Costin Loveland. You already had Cole Kmet, who is kind of an underrated tight end in my opinion. You have the pieces around Caleb Williams for him to be successful. Like I mentioned already, you just have to make sure that he's not overthinking it or trying to play hero ball, because that's what got him in trouble last season. We know Caleb Williams is that guy. He has nothing to prove outside of actually having success and, being a franchise quarterback. But in terms of a talent perspective, we know he's talented. We don't need to see him do that each and every throw. So I believe that's going to be the biggest correction in a Ben Johnson ran offense. So expect a bounce back sophomore season from Caleb Williams and expect this offense to take the next step. Moving on towards the defensive side of the field, we got that Bears defense that I feel is actually one of the better defenses in the National Football League. We just don't talk about it that much because, for one, the stats don't show them as being a dominant force. But I do want to put things into perspective. From the eye test, that defense was on the field a ton because that Chicago offense was one of the league leaders when it came to 3 and outs last season. So there was more times than not that defense found themselves on the field. And that's one of the big adjustments I see occurring this year. And I believe that will allow this defense to once again be one of those dominant defenses. And we're used to Chicago having really good defenses. I expect that to be the trend this year, especially when you hire Dennis Allen. And I know Dennis Allen isn't a world beater as a head coach, but as a defensive coordinator, he has the chops for it. So I expect this defense to not skip a beat. I believe adding Grady Jarrett is actually one of those sneaky moves because he's going to be a force when it comes to pass rushing, along with being a run stopper. Also, keep in mind that the Bears defense had the 10th most takeaways. That's something to monitor because I believe that could carry over as they have the personnel to force those turnovers. And I believe adding that veteran experience and Grady Jarrett on the field, and then with the coaching staff, Dennis Allen, those two pieces could be instrumental in improving this defense from a year ago. All that being said, I think the Bears missed the postseason because they are in the NFC North, the toughest division in football right now. They should be in the hunt, however, in terms of getting one of those wild card spots. But at this time, I don't expect them to get over the hump. However, in a year's time, I do expect them to be in contention for reaching the postseason. Let me know in the comments what you guys think. Will Caleb Williams show signs of being a franchise quarterback? Are the Chicago Bears the best non-playoff team this upcoming year? Don't forget to subscribe, like the video, and I'll see you guys in the next preview.